You're listening to Two Hotheads on Cannabis with your hosts, Mike Cann and Heather Mack on unregularadio.com.
We also want to ask you about the current, you're leaving office, and a lot of people are talking about Joe Kennedy. Do you think he would support marijuana legalization?
I don't know. I'm very impressed with Joe Kennedy. He's, I hope, going to win the seat that I'm not running for. And I honestly have not discussed that with him. I think this is a case where the public is going to really let the elected officials know about it. Most of the time when we have referenda on this, the public shows itself much more enlightened than the politicians. That isn't always the case. Public opinion isn't always right in my judgment. It's right in the sense that in a democracy the public is entitled to whatever it wants, but I don't always think it's factually correct. But in this case, the average citizen is against locking people up because they smoke this substance that other people don't like. And I think what we're going to have to do is, I really urge everybody, write to every representative and every senator. And once they understand where public opinion is, I think we will move ahead on this.
Absolutely.
By the way, there's also good financial reasons for the conservatives. Although Ron Paul's an honest libertarian, Ron and I support legalizing marijuana just because adults ought to be able to do what they want to do without hurting anybody else. But marijuana prosecutions are very expensive. In New York, it was probably the single biggest cause of arrests. I find some admirable things about Mike Bloomberg, but on marijuana, he couldn't be more wrong. You have this policy of arresting people. You clog the courts. There are people in prison for it.
Yeah.
It's just, among other things, an enormous waste of money and, of course, an intrusion on personal freedom. And finally, it's very discriminatory. I thought it was interesting in 2000, we had two presidential candidates, Al Gore and George Bush, both of whom had used substances that are illegal. But neither one of them had the remotest chance of being involved in the criminal justice system because they were the sons of very powerful political leaders. So you have a disproportionate record here of the enforcement of marijuana against racial minorities or young people, including young white guys, just because there's a discriminatory aspect to it.
People who can't fight back, who don't have the means to...
And even generational.
Right, but the way to do it is to let everybody know that you want them to vote that way. One of the things that I have some problems with some of my liberal friends is, look, I think what the right-wing Supreme Court has done in overturning all these laws regulating campaigns, it's the worst kind of radical judicial activism. This kind of money threatens to corrupt our politics. Although it's ironic, some of these very conservative Republicans were all for letting money flood the place. Now it's starting to bite them in the butt. Like Rick Santorum and Newt Gingrich, they're complaining about these super PACs when they, of course, were advocates of allowing them to go. They thought they'd only go after liberals. They didn't realize that they could be hit with them themselves. But it's a mistake to tell people that only money counts. Money counts for more than it should, and I'd like to cut it back. But I will tell you, from 40 years of experience as a legislator, if a large number of people in somebody's district get across that they want him or her to do something, then that's going to have an impact. You don't always win with it, but if the average member of a legislative body is convinced that a large number of his constituents or her constituents feel strongly about something, that'll move them.